I've been waiting to come out here because I keep hearing all around the world and definitely around this country that the students are taking over. They said we can't walk through campus, we can't get what we want done, nothing is happening because these students are camped up, they're posted up, they keep shouting, they keep marching. And you know what I said? I said, God damn it, good. Because we have tried as poor people, we have tried as black people, we have tried as queer people, we have tried as trans people, we have tried as undocumented people to get our rights acknowledged, to get our freedom acknowledged by being polite, by walking in, by sitting in, by whispering in, by writing strongly worded letters. And you know what? None of it works. The only way you get what you want is to shut it down. If we don't get it, 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 shut it down. And that's what we're doing right now. We shutting it down. But see, the problem is the media will have you thinking that we are shutting it down in the spirit of hate. They lie on y'all. They smear y'all. They criminalize y'all. But we know better right here. We know better. This is not a march against Jewish people. This is not an anti-Semitic meetup. This is a principled struggle against Zionism. And don't let the media or anybody else have you think that when we say it's a principled struggle against Zionism, that we're talking about Judaism or that we're talking about Jewish traditions or Jewish cultures or Jewish ritual. No, no, no. We're talking about political Zionism. We are talking about the creation of a Jewish ethno-state in historic Palestine that dislocated and dispossessed indigenous Palestinian people, took their homes, took their land. That's right. That's what we're talking about. Palestine was always diverse. Palestine always had a Jewish presence. Palestine always had a Christian presence. Palestine always had a Muslim presence in the modern era. That ain't the issue. The issue is that at the end of the 19th century, we saw waves of European immigration that came not to share the land, not just to pursue freedom. And let's be honest, freedom was needed. Anti-Semitism is a global thing. Jewish hate is pervasive everywhere, and it has been throughout history. Wherever Jewish people have been, they have been marginalized. They've been hated. They've been disrespected. They've been subjected to hatred and insecurity and perpetual victimhood. That ain't the problem. The problem is you cannot jump out of the burning buildings of Europe and land on the backs of Palestinian people in the region. So let's be clear about what we're here for. But you also have to understand why you're being resisted right now, why you are facing such opposition. And the opposition didn't start on October 7th. They'd love you to believe that the opposition started on October 7th. We did a Palestine Rights Festival right here on this campus. And this institution stood up and tried to shut it down. They tried to silence us. They tried to ban me. They banned Roger Waters. That's right, they banned me, they banned Roger Waters. They put all the people on mugs and cups and trucks and tried to say that we were teaching hate when in fact, all we were trying to do is acknowledge the spirit and tradition of resistance and the tradition of solidarity with the Palestinian people. And if you ever wondered what side of the aisle, what side of the political spectrum, what the vision and goal of this university and most universities is, you find out after October 7th, they are not operating in the interest of justice. Come on. They don't give a damn about justice. This university is committed to maintaining the status quo. This university is committed to silencing the voices of dissidents and resistance. This university would rather get rid of faux presidents than allow the world to know that the Palestinian freedom struggle is a legitimate one, and that we have a duty to stand in solidarity and love with you. Now, some folks gonna say, why don't y'all just focus on school? We ain't got time for all this. Well, let's talk about that. You see, school ain't neutral. School ain't never been neutral. Every single day that this university has committed not just hundreds, not just thousands, not just millions, but billions of dollars in investments in nation states that repress and oppress and genocide and erase and kill. And I'm not just talking about Palestine. This university has blood on its hands. And so we can't be students here in good conscience any more than we can be American citizens in good conscience and not recognize the fact that it's our money that's underwriting the occupation. It's our money that's underwriting the apartheid state. It's our money that's underwriting the genocide. So nobody in this room has the luxury of being neutral. Nobody out here right now should be patting themselves on the back because you all good and progressive and radical and liberal. You just doing your job. I want to salute all the faculty who have stood in the gap for y'all. I want to shout out all the professors, all the instructors, all the staff who have worked to form a united front with us. Yes, give us a wave. But let's be clear, again, we're not doing you no favors. We are in a space right now that says they love free speech. They love the clash of ideas. That's what they say, right? That's definitely what they say when it's time to hear some Islamophobic or sexist or homophobic or racist shit. They say, well, we're a free speech bastion. We gotta let everybody talk. That's what they say, right? Oh, they love free speech when it's white, patriarchal, cisgendered men doing the free speaking. But when it comes to boycott, divestment, and sanction, oh, now that's un-American. It is hypocrisy. It is hypocrisy. And it's also disingenuous. I remember, I'm old enough to remember last year. If only Palestinians could be nonviolent. If only the Palestinian Gandhi could emerge. Where's the Palestinian king? Well, I know what they did with the American king. They killed him. But there have been nonviolent resistance movements in Palestine for over a century. The Great Revolt of 1936 to 1939 began with a 6-month general strike from April to October. And guess what? You still didn't get justice. They said, well, just sit down with us. We had the Oslo Accords of 1993, which was supposed to build a peace process and a two-state solution. And the only thing it did was strip Palestinians of more sovereignty, divide historic Palestine into Bantustans, and create the context where the state of Israel has now basically annexed all of historic Palestine, and everybody keeps kicking the ball down the field, talking about a two-state solution, when in fact, there's nothing but a one-state reality controlled by an apartheid Israel. They said if you would just march peacefully, put your weapons down. Just a few years back, there was a great march of return. When Palestinians were marching toward the undeclared borders of Israel, and Israeli soldiers shot them down, unarmed. Cowards. So please, don't tell me if we just behave, we'll get something different. Black folk know about that here in the United States, right? That's what they told us, right? If you just dress right and pull your pants up, you'll be okay. They shot us in suits. They lynched us in khakis. They said if you would stop running from the police, you'd be fine. Eric Garner stood right there and was killed. They said if you don't go to bad neighborhoods, you won't look guilty. Breonna Taylor was killed in her own home. George Floyd's last moments were spent with a knee on his neck, crying for his mother as the police executed him like an animal in the street. Peace is our goal. Liberation is our destiny. But please understand, justice is the precondition for peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. We are going to do our best to continue fighting and organizing and building peacefully, because that's who we are. But we don't fetishize peace. We don't romanticize peace. When the Irgun and the Lehi were committing terrorist strikes, these were the Zionist militias before 1948. They weren't marching and peacefully protesting. When right now in the West Bank we see settler raids, when we see homes destroyed and crops pulled up, it ain't peaceful protesting. Now, our moral center is different. We don't want to be like our oppressors. But we also will not accept a narrow politics of respectability that says that we are only human beings if we lay down and remain vulnerable to death. We want to live. Right now, as university students and faculty and outside agitators like me, we're enjoying an extraordinary privilege because as we stand here at a university, every university in Gaza has been destroyed. As I stand here as a faculty member, hundreds of Palestinian scholars and intellectuals have been executed by the Israeli state. As we stand just blocks from kindergartens and elementary schools and high schools, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Palestinian schools have been absolutely destroyed, and students have been able to go to school in over 6 months because of the Israeli genocide. So as we stand here as students, in case y'all needed another reason to protest the genocide, and you damn sure don't need another reason to protest the genocide because it's wrong as such. But even if you did, what you tell them is you are here as young and seasoned scholars fighting the Israeli Scholasticide that has destroyed the educational system of Palestinians You see, settler colonialism is about erasure. It's not just about killing folk. It's not just about removing folk. It's not just about extracting labor. It's not just about any of those single things. It is not an action. It is an event. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. It is not an event. It is a structure. It is a system. It is a set of practices. And the design of the Israeli settler colonial project is to erase not just Palestinian people, but the memory of Palestine, the story of Palestine, the history of Palestine, the artifacts of Palestine, the olive trees of Palestine. Yes. They want all memory to be gone, just as we did here in the United States, just as they did in Canada and Australia, in New Zealand, and every other settler colonial state around this wicked globe. They want to erase the indigenous people and replace them at the same time, extracting as much value from their labor and their land as possible. So we understand that when we fight back, when we resist as we're doing tonight, part of what we're doing is trying to end a vicious war on the Palestinian people. We're trying to do that. But we're also fighting a broader settler colonial project that has waged war on the Palestinian people since 1882. That is the work that we must do, because this war will end. This war will end. I promise you, this war will end. I promise you 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 this war will end. But even when this phase of the war ends, and when I say war, I'm not talking about what's happening since October 7th. That's not a war. That's a genocide. What I'm talking about is the war on ideas, the war on human liberation, the war on human freedom, the war on free speech, the war on bodily autonomy and self-determination. We gotta talk about that too. Where the liberal feminists at? There's a whole lot of liberal white feminists that had a lot to say, but have nothing to say about a war that has destroyed, literally destroyed IVF centers, that has literally destroyed human embryos, that has killed tens of thousands of people, 2/3 of which are women and children. Where all the pro-lifers at now? The problem is, pro-lifers think all humans have a right to life, but they've decided to believe that Palestinians are not human. Where are all the Democrats at? Wasn't they the ones that told us they were the better alternative? Well, from what I can see, Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe? Genocide Joe? Genocide Joe? Genocide Joe? Genocide Joe has created
hold it straight. People can see. Hold it straight.
A very clear message that him and Israel are going to remain lockstep.
It's waving in people's face. It's waving in people's face.
He has used, like every other American president, Democrat and Republican, America's money and power to send weapons, to send defense systems, to use the veto power of the United States and the United Nations as a permanent member to veto ceasefires. This war ends when the U.S. says they've had enough. But the U.S. never has enough war. They never have enough imperialism. They never have enough black and brown death. So what we got to do is marshal our resources, our energy, and make sure that we force their hand to give them what we want. Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. So I'll be very clear. can't vote your way to liberation. You can't go in the ballot box and get free. But voting is a tactic. It is a strategy. And using the tactics and the strategies to our best advantage has to mean something. Our brothers and sisters in Michigan that say we are uncommitted, that we're not just giving our votes away. Pennsylvania said we're not just giving our votes away. We got to keep that energy for November. No ceasefire, no vote. No ceasefire, no vote. No ceasefire, no vote. No ceasefire, no vote. And after November, we still got work to do, family. I know we got enough issues and problems in this city alone. We got police repression here.
Yes. That's right.
We got a colonizing, occupying force in the University of Pennsylvania that has taken over West Philadelphia and the rest of the city, just like Temple is North Philadelphia. Against the backdrop of those forces, and we got to deal with a repressive state, and we got to deal with rape culture, and we got to deal with mass poverty, we got to deal with a vicious capitalist system and racial capitalist system that is undermining the prosperity of everybody out here who's catching hell, the month lasting longer than their money. We got all of these issues, but the key is to recognize that these issues are inseparable. I don't just struggle for Palestine because it's the righteous struggle, and it is the righteous struggle. And I encourage everybody out here who's marching for Palestine to also be marching with us for reparations right here in the United States. But I also understand that my experience here in a patriarchal, white supremacist, imperial, settler, colonial state is directly tied to forces of capital and forces of power that also oppress my Palestinian brothers and sisters, that also oppress my brothers and sisters in India and in China and in Cuba and in Brazil and in Sudan and in Haiti. And Puerto Rico, for sure. And so, our work cannot stop after graduation. Our work cannot end when this semester ends, when you turn your finals in, or you turn in your dissertation, or you walk off this campus and go back home. The work cannot stop because the oppressive forces that confine all of us to less livable lives will not stop. Every single thing that oppresses us today will oppress us tomorrow if we don't continue to fight, if we don't continue to organize, if we don't continue to resist in every form possible. So family, at a moment where everybody's telling us that the forces are against us, that the power of Zionism and the power of American imperialism is too enormous for us to succeed, I will just remind you that the evidence, the odds of victory has always been against the oppressed. The powerful always look unbeatable right until the moment where we beat them. And so, I don't want you to think for 1 second that the time you spend in these encampments, that the time you spend marching down the street, that the time you spend holding up these flags, that the time you spend dedicating your political energy to the spirit and tradition of sumud or steadfastness. Don't ever believe that it is in vain, because I have never been more certain. I have never been more certain. I have never been more certain than I am at this moment, at this place, and this juncture in history than I am right now, that we will be victorious in our struggle